9 Ancient Archaeological Mysteries Scientists still can't explain after 1,000 years. There is something quite fascinating that many of us may have never really noticed. The more advanced humanity becomes, the more we tend to believe that we can uncover the answers to every mystery in the world. Today, we have satellites observing Earth from outer space, artificial intelligence capable of processing enormous amounts of data, and modern technologies powerful enough to see deep beneath the ground without the need for excavation. Yet, despite these incredible advancements, there are still mysteries that have challenged generations of scientists. What is truly remarkable is that the more we study them, the more questions we seem to discover rather than answers. Have you ever wondered what our ancestors thousands of years ago truly knew and what they were capable of achieving? How were they able to create massive structures that still leave modern engineers amazed today? Why do certain symbols, ancient manuscripts, and enormous drawings remain only partially understood even after centuries of research? And perhaps the most astonishing thing of all is that despite hundreds or even thousands of years of investigation, these mysteries still have not been explained in a convincing way. Hello, and welcome to the Ancient History Channel. Dear friends, history is not only written in books, it is also buried beneath layers of earth and stone, hidden within the ruins of ancient temples, carved into towering cliffs, or scattered across vast desert landscapes. Whenever archaeologists begin a new excavation, they do not simply uncover ancient artifacts, they also unintentionally reveal new mysteries that spark debates around the world. The most interesting part is that the more discoveries are brought to light, the more we realize how little we truly know about the civilizations that existed before us. So in today's video, we will explore 9 archaeological mysteries that have existed for more than 1,000 years but still remain without a final explanation. From ancient wonders that continue to amaze modern engineers to gigantic symbols stretching across hillsides and deserts and ancient texts written in languages that disappeared thousands of years ago, each story represents a missing piece of human history, and every discovery has the potential to make us question what we once believed to be true. After watching this video, you may come to realize that the greatest mystery is not the ancient structures or artifacts themselves, but rather the extraordinary abilities of the people who lived thousands of years before us. And perhaps somewhere beneath the ground, there are still secrets waiting to be uncovered. Secrets powerful enough to completely rewrite the history we know today. Are you ready to join me on this journey of discovery? If you are, then let's begin right now. The Paracas Candelabra, a 2,000-year-old giant symbol in Peru. When people think of enormous drawings etched into the ground known as geoglyphs, most immediately picture Peru's famous Nazca lines. However, few people realize that just about 125 miles away from the Nazca Plain lies another ancient monument that is every bit as mysterious. In fact, many researchers believe it raises even more difficult questions than the Nazca lines themselves. What's even more remarkable is that although this monument has been known for a very long time, no one has been able to say with certainty what its true purpose was. Why do you think ancient people invested so much time and effort into creating a massive figure that can only be clearly recognized from a great distance? This remarkable landmark is known as the Paracas Candelabra, a famous geoglyph carved into a hillside overlooking Pisco Bay in southern Peru. It immediately captures attention because of its enormous size, stretching approximately 590 feet across. Its massive scale allows it to stand out dramatically against the barren coastal landscape. Whether viewed from the sea or from miles away, the symbol's distinctive shape is still easy to recognize. Its impressive dimensions have made the Paracas Candelabra one of the most striking geoglyphs ever discovered in Peru. Although it is located relatively close to the famous Nazca lines, archaeologists believe the two monuments were not created by the same civilization. Ancient pottery fragments discovered near the site have been dated to around 200 BC, suggesting that the geoglyph was most likely constructed by the Paracas culture, a civilization that flourished along Peru's coastline long before the Nazca people emerged. This archaeological evidence has helped researchers better understand the monument's origins, but it has also raised even more questions about its true purpose. For the local people, the Paracas Candelabra is much more than a simple carving on a hillside. Many believe it represents the staff carried by Viracocha, the great creator god, and one of the most important deities in the ancient beliefs of the Andes. According to traditional interpretations, the symbol is considered sacred and is closely associated with the divine power of creation. As a result, the site has been surrounded by colorful legends and mystical stories for centuries. Not everyone, however, agrees with this religious interpretation. Some experts have proposed a more practical explanation. They point out that the Paracas Candelabra was carved into a hillside facing the ocean, with a bold design and enormous dimensions that make it visible to sailors from as far as about 12 miles offshore. Because of this, many researchers believe the monument may have served as a navigational landmark, helping ancient seafarers identify their location while traveling along Peru's coastline. If this theory is correct, the Paracas Candelabra could represent one of the oldest and most remarkable maritime markers ever created by humanity. Even so, all of these explanations remain only theories. No ancient records clearly identify who created the Paracas Candelabra, how it was constructed, or what its ultimate purpose was. Was it a sacred religious symbol, a navigational guide for ancient sailors, or something with an entirely different meaning that we have yet to imagine? It is precisely this lack of definitive answers that has kept this gigantic geoglyph among the greatest archaeological mysteries in Peru. Even today, it continues to challenge researchers while inspiring the curiosity of history enthusiasts and explorers around the world. The Uffington White Horse, the giant hillside symbol of England. If you ever have the chance to look down from above at the peaceful countryside of Oxfordshire, England, you might be surprised to see the image of a gigantic white horse stretching across a lush green hillside. But here's the fascinating part. It isn't a modern work of art or a landmark created to attract tourists. Instead, it has existed for so long that it has become one of Britain's most mysterious archaeological symbols. Through hundreds and perhaps even thousands of years of rain, wind, and changing seasons, this enormous figure has remained as a lasting mark left behind by ancient people. Yet the question that continues to puzzle archaeologists is the same one they have asked for generations: who created it and why? This remarkable landmark is known as the Uffington White Horse, a famous geoglyph carved into the side of a hill near the village of Uffington in Oxfordshire, England. The figure measures approximately 374 feet in length, making it so large that it can only be fully appreciated from the air or from a considerable distance. Unlike paintings made with pigments or images carved into solid rock, the ancient builders created the horse using a remarkably ingenious technique. They dug deep trenches following the outline of the figure and then filled those trenches with crushed white chalk. The brilliant white chalk created a striking contrast against the green grass covering the hillside. This simple yet highly effective method has allowed the symbol to remain clearly visible for many centuries. One of the features that has especially captured the attention of researchers is that the horse does not resemble a realistic drawing. Instead, its long, elegant, sweeping lines give it a highly stylized appearance. Interestingly, its design closely resembles images found on ancient coins from the Bronze Age. This similarity has led to the theory that the geoglyph may have held important cultural or religious significance for the ancient people who once lived in the region. However, because no direct evidence has been discovered, every conclusion remains speculative. Even more intriguing is the fact that the mystery extends beyond the figure itself. The surrounding landscape has also become an important focus of archaeological research. Near the Uffington White Horse, archaeologists have uncovered several burial mounds dating back to the Neolithic period. What makes these discoveries particularly significant is that the burial mounds were not used only during their original era. Instead, they continued to be reused all the way into the Saxon period. This discovery has given rise to another theory. Some experts suggest that the White Horse may not be as ancient as many people have long believed, since the area experienced multiple periods of settlement and continued use over thousands of years. In other words, the monument may have been created much later than some of the earliest theories have proposed. Historical records concerning the monument are equally fascinating. According to Travel Journal, in 1677, Thomas Baskerville became the first person to record that local residents regularly maintained and carefully preserved the image of the horse. This suggests that even centuries ago, the people of the area already regarded the symbol as an important part of their local history and cultural identity. Generation after generation, they continued clearing away weeds and replenishing the white chalk so that the figure would not gradually disappear beneath the forces of nature. Beyond the archaeological theories, the Uffington White Horse is also closely connected with one of England's most famous legends. According to local tradition, this is the very place where St. George fought and defeated a fierce dragon to protect the land. After the battle, the dragon's blood soaked into the hillside, leaving behind a mysterious mark where grass could never grow again. Although the story is deeply rooted in mythology rather than history, it has been passed down for centuries and has only added to the monument's enduring sense of mystery. Even today, despite numerous archaeological surveys and scientific studies, the true origin of the Uffington White Horse remains unsolved. Is it a religious symbol, a territorial marker, an ancient work of art, or simply a message that people from the distant past wanted to leave for future generations? Perhaps it is this very mystery that has allowed the giant hillside figure to remain one of the world's most famous and captivating geoglyphs, continuing to await the day when science can finally uncover the complete story that time has kept hidden. Liber Linteus Zagrabiensis, the 2,200-year-old linen book containing a lost language that remains undeciphered. Hey, imagine this. What if one day archaeologists discovered an ancient book that had survived for more than 2,000 years, yet it was written in a language that almost no one in the world could read anymore? What secrets could be hidden within its pages? Could it reveal the history of a vanished civilization, sacred rituals, or even knowledge that modern humans have never encountered before? All of those possibilities are very real. But you know what makes this discovery even more fascinating? It is not only the mysterious content inside the book, but also the material it was made from. This book was not created from paper or animal parchment like many ancient texts we commonly see. Instead, it was crafted from linen, a material rarely found in the history of ancient books. After surviving for more than 2 millennia, it remains almost completely intact, becoming one of the most mysterious and valuable artifacts ever discovered by archaeologists. The extraordinary artifact I am talking about is called Liber Linteus Zagrabiensis, also known by its Latin name, the Linen Book of Zagreb. It is considered the longest known surviving text written in the Etruscan language, the language of the Etruscan civilization that once flourished on the Italian peninsula before the rise of the Roman Empire. For many centuries, the Etruscan language played a significant role in the cultural and social life of the ancient world. However, as Latin gradually became the dominant language of the region, Etruscan slowly disappeared from everyday use and eventually became a lost language. Today, only a small number of ancient records mentioning this mysterious language remain, making the task of deciphering the contents of Liber Linteus Zagrabiensis an incredibly difficult challenge. What excites researchers while also leaving them frustrated is that despite years of study, most of the book's contents still cannot be fully translated. The ancient symbols written across the strips of linen appear to be telling a story from more than 2,000 years ago, yet that story remains hidden behind the veil of history. Because there are so few surviving Etruscan texts and very limited material available for comparison, experts have only been able to decode a small portion of the manuscript. Based on the information they have gathered so far, many researchers believe that Liber Linteus Zagrabiensis was not an ordinary book, but more likely a religious calendar recording ceremonial rituals. In the past, many people believed that it was a text connected to burial practices because the unusual way it was preserved made that theory seem reasonable. However, after deeper analysis, experts discovered that the sections they were able to interpret appeared to be more similar to a schedule of religious ceremonies rather than a document specifically created for funerary rituals. Nevertheless, because the majority of the text remains unknown, the exact purpose of the book is still one of history's greatest unanswered questions. One of the most astonishing aspects of Liber Linteus Zagrabiensis is its incredible age. Scientists have determined that the artifact dates back to the 3rd century BC, meaning it has existed for more than 2,200 years. Considering such an enormous span of time, the survival of an organic document made from fabric is an extremely rare occurrence. This remarkable preservation has made the book a unique treasure in the fields of archaeology and ancient language research. Not only is the content mysterious, but the material used to create the book also continues to amaze researchers. Unlike many ancient documents made from papyrus or animal parchment, Liber Linteus Zagrabiensis was made entirely from linen. This is the same type of fabric that was famously used by the ancient Egyptians to wrap and preserve mummies. The remarkable durability of linen played an important role in allowing this ancient manuscript to survive the destructive effects of time and remain with us today. To this day, Liber Linteus Zagrabiensis remains one of the greatest mysteries in world archaeology. Every newly deciphered line provides another piece of the puzzle about the lost Etruscan civilization, while at the same time raising even more unanswered questions. Could this ancient book still be hiding forgotten rituals, lost knowledge, or a part of human history that we have never discovered before? Perhaps only when the entire manuscript is finally decoded will the secrets that have slept for more than 2,000 years truly be revealed. Until that day comes, we can only wait and wonder what mysteries this extraordinary ancient book still holds. The White Shaman Rock Painting, the 4,000-year-old mystery on a Texas cliff. As you know, our world is full of mysteries. Some traces of the past were never recorded in books, carved onto stone monuments, or preserved inside ancient palaces. Instead, they quietly appeared on cliffs and mountainsides, surviving for thousands of years like messages left behind by ancient people for future generations. What makes these discoveries even more fascinating is that the more archaeologists study these ancient paintings, the more they realize they are not simply works of art. They may also contain the history, beliefs, and worldview of civilizations that disappeared long ago. So, what do you think? With nothing more than a few simple drawings on stone, could people who lived thousands of years ago actually tell us their stories? That question is not easy to answer, is it? Across the United States, many ancient cultures that existed long before Europeans arrived in the Americas have left behind countless mysteries that remain unsolved. One of the most valuable ways scientists learn about their lives, beliefs, and traditions is by studying the surviving rock paintings they created. Although these artworks have endured thousands of years of harsh weather, many of the images are still clearly visible on cliffs today, as if time itself accidentally preserved messages from an ancient world that we still do not fully understand. And one of the most famous locations can be found near the Pecos River in Texas. This region contains numerous ancient rock paintings of exceptional archaeological importance, attracting the attention of researchers from around the world. Among the many artworks discovered there, one stands out above the rest, a painting known as White Shaman. According to archaeologists, it is considered one of the oldest rock paintings in the region and may be connected to an ancient religion that has completely disappeared. This possibility has made White Shaman the focus of numerous studies for many years. The White Shaman painting stretches approximately 23 feet long and is estimated to be around 4,000 years old. That number alone is enough to amaze many people, because it was created during a period when many great civilizations around the world were still developing. Despite having endured the intense sunlight, strong winds, and harsh desert conditions of Texas for thousands of years, the images on the cliff remain clear enough for researchers to study and develop various theories about their meaning. However, it was precisely from this point that a debate lasting many years began. To this day, the true meaning of the White Shaman painting remains uncertain. Most archaeologists believe that the artwork depicts 5 figures who are either participating in a battle or performing a ritual connected to warfare. They base this interpretation on the arrangement of the figures, their shapes, and the way the symbols within the painting are organized. If this theory is correct, White Shaman could represent an important historical event or a significant ritual practiced by the ancient people who once lived near the Pecos River. However, not all researchers agree with this explanation. Another group of scholars believes that the figures in the painting are not fighting at all, but instead are performing a ceremony to communicate with the spiritual world. According to this interpretation, the unusual images and symbols appearing on the cliff may represent religious beliefs, sacred rituals, or a spiritual journey connecting humans with supernatural forces. This is also why many people believe White Shaman is not merely a piece of ancient artwork, but rather a kind of visual book that recorded the spiritual life of a prehistoric culture that has disappeared from history. What makes this mystery even more fascinating is that, even today, despite the incredible advancements in archaeological technology and modern analytical methods, no single theory has been proven to be completely correct. Every new discovery provides another possible perspective, but at the same time, it raises even more unanswered questions. For this reason, White Shaman remains one of the greatest mysteries of ancient rock art in Texas, continuing to challenge scientists in their ongoing quest to understand the past. Were ancient people recording a fierce battle, a sacred ceremony, or perhaps a message that was meant to cross the boundaries of time and reach future generations? What do you think the answer might be? Don't hesitate to leave your thoughts in the comments below so we can discuss this fascinating mystery together. The Sajama lines, Bolivia's giant network 15 times larger than Nazca. We have all heard about the famous Nazca lines and have also explored the legendary Paracas Candelabra geoglyph in Peru. However, few people know that in neighboring Bolivia, there is another ancient creation that is far more massive, so enormous in scale that even experienced archaeologists are amazed by it. This incredible site is known as the Sajama lines, a vast geoglyph system located on the Sajama Plateau in Bolivia. At first glance, many people might assume these are simply trails created by humans or animals walking across the land. But when viewed from above, the entire area reveals something extraordinary, a gigantic network made up of thousands and possibly tens of thousands of lines crossing and intersecting in many different directions. It is this enormous scale and complexity that has made the Sajama lines one of the most mysterious archaeological structures in South America. According to current research, each Sajama line is between 3 and 10 feet wide, while some can extend for up to 11 miles in length. When all of these lines are combined, they form a vast network covering an area of approximately 2,900 square miles, about 15 times larger than the famous Nazca lines of Peru. That incredible size alone has raised countless questions among scientists. How were ancient people able to create such an enormous network? What methods did they use to maintain lines that remain almost perfectly straight across a landscape with extremely complex terrain? Unfortunately, despite its importance, the Sajama lines remain one of the least studied archaeological sites in the world. Because the system covers such a massive area and stretches across many different types of terrain, surveying the entire network using traditional methods is almost impossible. For many years, archaeologists could only examine small sections of the site, making it extremely difficult to fully understand the true scale and structure of this mysterious network. It was only recently, with the rapid development of satellite imaging technology, that researchers gained the ability to observe the Sajama lines from above and begin conducting more detailed studies. Thanks to these images, they discovered something truly astonishing. Although the lines pass through rugged landscapes, crossing hills, valleys, and numerous natural obstacles, they still maintain an incredible degree of straightness. This suggests that the people who created this massive construction must have possessed advanced planning and navigation abilities far beyond what we once imagined about ancient communities. However, what has puzzled archaeologists the most is the complete lack of historical records. To this day, there are no written documents explaining the origin of the Sajama lines or describing how they were created. Because of this, many experts believe that the network may have been built during prehistoric times before written civilizations appeared in the region. Researchers also suggest that such an enormous project was unlikely to have been completed within a short period. Instead, it was probably the result of countless generations of people working together to construct and maintain the network over a very long period of time. Even with the additional information provided by modern technology, the true purpose of the Sajama lines remains an unanswered mystery. Some researchers believe they may have served as ancient pathways that helped people navigate across the vast plateau. Others suggest that they could have been a system marking burial locations or areas considered important by ancient communities. There is also another theory that the entire network may have had astronomical significance, perhaps being used to observe the sky or mark important events connected to the sun and the stars. To this day, the Sajama lines continue to stretch silently across Bolivia's high plateau, standing as a massive reminder of what ancient people were capable of creating. Every new study brings more clues, but it also reveals even more mysteries. Were these lines an ancient transportation network, a religious construction, or perhaps a gigantic message left behind for future generations? Perhaps only as science continues to advance will we finally understand the true meaning behind one of the largest and most mysterious geoglyph systems ever created by humanity. A fascinating mystery, isn't it? The Great Pyramid of Giza. Egypt's extraordinary wonder, more than 4,500 years old. There are some structures whose names alone are enough to make the entire world admire them. Over thousands of years, countless empires have risen and fallen, and many ancient wonders have disappeared beneath the destructive power of time. Yet, one remarkable structure still stands proudly in the middle of the desert, as if challenging the very laws of history. Even more astonishing is that although modern humans now possess massive machinery, advanced technology, and cutting-edge construction methods, many mysteries surrounding the structure still cannot be fully explained. This is the Great Pyramid of Giza, the world-famous monument located on the Giza Plateau, on the outskirts of Cairo, Egypt. It is the largest structure among the 7 wonders of the ancient world, and the only wonder that has survived almost completely intact to the present day. For centuries, the Great Pyramid of Giza has not only been a symbol of Egyptian pride, but has also represented the intelligence, engineering skills, and extraordinary creativity of one of the greatest ancient civilizations in human history. Millions of visitors from around the world continue to travel here every year to witness with their own eyes a monument that has endured countless changes throughout history. According to archaeological records, the Giza Pyramid Complex was constructed around 2570 BC. The entire complex includes 3 main pyramids: the Pyramid of Khufu, also known as Cheops, along with the Pyramid of Khafra and the Pyramid of Menkaure. Among them, Khufu is the largest and most famous. The pyramid originally stood approximately 479 feet tall, with each side of its base measuring about 747 feet, covering a base area of around 562,000 square feet. These numbers alone are enough to help us imagine the enormous scale of the monument created by the ancient Egyptians more than 4,000 years ago. To complete the Great Pyramid of Khufu, ancient builders are believed to have transported and assembled more than 2.5 million stone blocks with astonishing precision. However, what continues to spark debate among scientists is that most of these stone blocks weighed between approximately 5.5 tons and 17.6 tons. Even with modern machinery today, moving and stacking such a massive number of enormous stones would still be an extremely difficult challenge. Yet the ancient Egyptians, using only remarkably simple tools, managed to place each block into its exact position and fit them together so precisely that there were almost no significant gaps between them. This is one of the reasons why the Great Pyramid continues to be regarded as one of humanity's greatest engineering achievements. So, how exactly did ancient people accomplish such an incredible feat? Historically, the pyramids were not simply massive architectural structures. They were also tombs built for the pharaohs, the powerful rulers of ancient Egypt. The Egyptians of that time believed that after death, the pharaoh's soul would continue its existence in the afterlife. Therefore, they constructed enormous pyramids to help the king journey to the heavens and enter eternal life. This belief deeply influenced the design, construction, and protection of royal tombs for many centuries. From the outside, the Great Pyramid of Giza has a highly distinctive shape. Its base is a square, while its 4 triangular sides rise upward to form a perfectly symmetrical pyramid. Each side was built with an extremely precise angle of inclination, creating the astonishing balance and harmony of the entire structure. However, the mystery of the Great Pyramid does not only lie in its massive exterior. Some of its greatest secrets are hidden deep within the monument itself. Beneath layers of enormous stone blocks lies a complex system of corridors, chambers, and underground passages designed with remarkable sophistication. The narrow pathways inside create the feeling of entering an ancient maze, where every turn leads deeper into a mystery that has lasted for thousands of years. Among the most famous areas inside the pyramid is the King's Chamber, which was constructed entirely from granite. It has a rectangular design and is believed to have been the final resting place of the pharaoh. Although the pyramid has been studied for many decades, there are still numerous chambers and hidden spaces inside that continue to raise questions among archaeologists. To this day, the architecture of the Great Pyramid of Giza remains an achievement that modern science has not been able to explain with complete certainty. How were the ancient Egyptians able to transport millions of multi-ton stone blocks, lift them hundreds of feet into the air, and assemble them with almost perfect accuracy using only primitive tools? This remains one of the most debated topics in archaeology and the history of construction engineering. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon, Iraq's lost wonder that has captivated the world for centuries. Among the famous seven wonders of the ancient world, there is one extraordinary creation that the more humanity searches for, the deeper we become drawn into its unsolved mysteries. However, unlike the Great Pyramid of Giza, which still proudly stands in the Egyptian desert, this wonder has never been confirmed by archaeologists with definitive evidence of its existence. Yet, the fewer archaeological traces that are discovered, the more famous it becomes, continuing to spark curiosity among scientists and history enthusiasts around the world. This is the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, the legendary wonder believed to have once stood in the ancient city of Babylon, near the modern-day city of Hilla in Iraq's Babil Governorate. It remains one of the greatest mysteries that modern archaeology has never been able to completely solve. To this day, no specific archaeological evidence has been found that can conclusively prove that these gardens truly existed. However, detailed descriptions preserved in ancient texts have painted a picture of a magnificent and extraordinary creation, leading many people to believe that it was once a real masterpiece of the ancient world. The city of Babylon, where the Hanging Gardens are believed to have been located, was once a powerful center of the ancient Mesopotamian civilization. The city was located about 53 miles south of Baghdad, Iraq, and witnessed the rise and fall of many great empires throughout history. Babylon was not only famous for its wealth and power, but was also considered a symbol of humanity's remarkable achievements in culture, engineering, and architecture during the ancient era. The most famous accounts of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon were recorded by Berossus, a Babylonian priest. According to his descriptions, the gardens were built by King Nebuchadnezzar II as a gift for his wife, Queen Amytis, who came from the land of Media. Because she missed the green mountains and lush landscapes of her homeland, the queen reportedly felt isolated in the hot and dry environment of Babylon. Therefore, the king ordered the construction of a massive garden filled with layers of greenery rising high above the ground, creating a breathtaking landscape to ease her longing for home. According to ancient descriptions, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon were built near a great river within the city of Babylon, which was surrounded by enormous defensive walls made from baked bricks. These massive walls not only protected the city, but also created a dramatic backdrop surrounding the gardens. In a land known for its harsh, dry, and scorching climate, the presence of thousands of green plants transformed the area into a vibrant oasis, creating a stunning contrast between nature and the surrounding desert. What made the Hanging Gardens of Babylon a true wonder was not only their beauty, but also the advanced engineering techniques believed to have been used in their construction. According to ancient records, the gardens were designed with multiple stone terraces, each supported by a system of strong columns and sturdy arches. Most impressive of all was the sophisticated irrigation system. Water was transported from its main source to the higher levels through a complex network of channels and pipes, allowing the plants growing high above the ground to remain healthy despite the harsh climate. Because of this remarkable system, the entire garden was described as an artificial green mountain rising in the middle of the desert. It was believed that the gardens contained not only native plants, but also many trees and climbing vines brought from Queen Amytis's homeland of Media, species that would have been extremely difficult to grow in the dry environment of Babylon. This made the structure even more extraordinary and demonstrated the enormous resources invested by the Babylonian Empire to create a green paradise in a challenging natural environment. If the descriptions found in ancient texts are accurate, then the Hanging Gardens of Babylon were not simply a garden, but a symbol of the wealth, power, and advanced engineering abilities of the Babylonian Empire. That is why the gardens were included among the seven wonders of the ancient world and praised as one of the greatest achievements ever created by humanity. However, the most fascinating aspect of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon lies in their mysterious disappearance. To this day, despite numerous archaeological excavations carried out at the ancient city of Babylon in Iraq, researchers have still not discovered convincing evidence confirming the existence of this legendary wonder. Did the Hanging Gardens of Babylon truly exist and simply vanish into the pages of history? Or were they only a legendary creation passed down through ancient writings over the centuries? And perhaps that uncertainty is the greatest disappointment for archaeologists and historians who continue searching for answers to one of the greatest mysteries of the ancient world. The statue of Zeus at Olympia, the great wonder of ancient Greece that exists only in the pages of history, Thousands of years ago, there was a statue that caused anyone who entered the temple to look up in complete amazement. It was once considered the greatest masterpiece of ancient Greek sculpture, a symbol of the power of the supreme god Zeus, and a source of pride for an entire civilization. However, the greatest irony is that this world-famous wonder no longer exists today. Unlike the Great Pyramid of Giza, which still proudly stands in the Egyptian desert, this magnificent statue has almost completely disappeared, leaving behind countless regrets and unanswered questions. This legendary wonder was the statue of Zeus at Olympia, which once stood inside the Temple of Zeus in Olympia, located in the Peloponnese region of Greece. It was considered the peak of ancient Greek sculptural art and one of the greatest creations ever produced by humans in the ancient world. According to historical records, the statue was completed around 430 BC by the brilliant sculptor Phidias. Soon after its creation, the masterpiece quickly became a symbol of Greek pride and attracted countless pilgrims and travelers from across the ancient world who came to witness its extraordinary beauty. You know, what made this statue truly remarkable was not only its religious significance, but also its incredibly impressive scale. The statue of Zeus stood nearly 39 feet tall, roughly the height of a modern multi-story building. The entire framework was made from cedar wood, then covered with gold, ivory, precious stones, and many other valuable materials to create a breathtaking appearance rarely seen in the ancient world. For the ancient Greeks, this was not simply a statue. It was the ultimate symbol of the power and sacred presence of the god who ruled over the heavens. According to surviving descriptions from ancient texts, Zeus was portrayed sitting majestically on a throne. In his right hand, he held a statue of the goddess Nike, the personification of victory and glory. Meanwhile, his left hand held a royal scepter, with an eagle positioned at the top, a bird closely associated with Zeus's power in Greek mythology. The face of the god was depicted with a powerful and majestic expression, yet it also carried a sense of calmness, representing the absolute strength of the supreme deity. Every line and every detail of the statue reflected Phidias's extraordinary mastery of sculpture, leaving anyone who saw it in awe. Surrounding this masterpiece was the Temple of Zeus at Olympia, a massive architectural achievement built in the distinctive Doric style of ancient Greece. The temple stood out with its large white marble columns, featuring a simple yet extremely strong design that supported the entire structure. The walls were primarily constructed from limestone covered with white plaster, combined with local limestone bricks and marble elements, creating a harmonious appearance while maintaining a sense of grandeur. At the center of the temple's inner chamber stood the enormous statue of Zeus, transforming the site into one of the most sacred places in ancient Greece. The temple was impressive, not only because of its size, but also because it was designed according to the strict principles of proportion and balance that defined classical Greek architecture. It represented the highest form of respect and devotion toward the deity being worshipped. This was not only a place where important religious ceremonies took place, but also a center for major festivals and famous athletic competitions, especially the ancient Olympic Games. Located within the lush valley of Olympia, Greece, the surrounding natural landscape further enhanced the solemn and sacred atmosphere of the entire architectural complex. However, no human creation can resist the passage of time forever. After existing for around 800 years, the statue entered the final chapter of its history. By the 6th century AD, the Temple of Zeus had been destroyed, and the statue of Zeus is believed to have been damaged or lost during the same period or shortly afterward. From that moment on, the wonder that had once amazed the entire ancient world survived only through historical writings, ancient coins, and the accounts of scholars from the past. Today, although we can no longer admire it with our own eyes, the statue of Zeus at Olympia is still regarded as one of the greatest achievements in the history of ancient Greek sculpture. The discoveries made through archaeological excavations have helped humanity partially imagine the magnificent beauty of this lost masterpiece, but they still cannot fully recreate what people in the ancient world once witnessed. Perhaps what makes this wonder truly immortal is not only its beauty or enormous scale, but also the mysterious way in which it disappeared. A statue that was once celebrated throughout the ancient world, once a symbol of Greek pride, now exists only in the pages of history and in the imagination of humanity. A truly magnificent wonder that has been lost forever. What a remarkable tragedy, isn't it? The Mausoleum of Mausolus, the lost wonder of Turkey, that gave birth to the word mausoleum. Have you ever heard the word mausoleum? But do you know where this name originally came from? That's right, it comes from Mausolus, the name of one of the most famous rulers associated with an extraordinary tomb in ancient Turkey. The Mausoleum of Mausolus, also known as the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus, once stood in the ancient city of Halicarnassus, which is now the modern city of Bodrum, Muğla Province, Turkey. It was one of the most famous architectural achievements of the ancient world, and a masterpiece that perfectly combined the art of sculpture with advanced construction techniques. According to historical records, the mausoleum was built during the 4th century BC to honor King Mausolus, the ruler of the region of Caria. After his death, Queen Artemisia II, who was both his wife and his sister, decided to build a magnificent tomb as a tribute to her late husband and to express her deep sorrow and remembrance. At the time, this structure quickly became a symbol of wealth, power, and the extraordinary architectural abilities of the era. Its fame spread throughout the ancient world so widely that the name of King Mausolus eventually became the origin of the word mausoleum, a term that is now used to describe large and impressive tombs around the world. Perhaps few people realize that every time we mention a building called a mausoleum, we are unknowingly repeating the name of a king who lived more than 2,000 years ago. According to historical sources, the Mausoleum of Mausolus was constructed between 353 and 350 BC, meaning it was completed in less than 4 years. This was an enormous construction project for its time, requiring a tremendous amount of labor, resources, and financial investment. The monument stood approximately 148 feet tall and was built on a foundation measuring about 82 by 98 feet. Creating an imposing presence above the city of Halicarnassus. This impressive scale alone was enough to make the mausoleum one of the most admired architectural creations of the ancient world. To create this extraordinary wonder, craftsmen used many valuable materials, including marble, limestone, and bronze, combining durability with an elegant and luxurious appearance. According to estimates, the total construction cost reached around 1.5 million iron drachmas, an enormous amount of money during that period, demonstrating the extraordinary investment dedicated to creating a memorial worthy of a powerful ruler. The Mausoleum of Mausolus was also famous for its harmonious combination of Greek and ancient Anatolian architectural influences. The entire structure was built on a raised platform approximately 20 feet high, making the mausoleum appear like a giant monument rising above a hill overlooking Bodrum Bay in modern-day Turkey. From this location, the structure could easily be seen from a great distance, standing prominently against the natural landscape and creating an image that was both magnificent and solemn, a monument truly worthy of being named one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. The mausoleum was impressive not only because of its massive exterior, but also because of the incredible details within its design. A lush garden surrounded the monument, combined with rows of ancient columns that created an atmosphere of peace while still maintaining a sense of grandeur. The architects skillfully used pure white marble for the lower sections of the structure to emphasize elegance and strength, while limestone was used for the upper sections to create a lighter and more graceful appearance. The most remarkable feature of the monument was its collection of highly detailed sculptures placed throughout the mausoleum. Each artwork was carved with delicate and lifelike details, making viewers feel as though the gods and heroes of Greek mythology were stepping out from the pages of ancient stories. The perfect combination of architecture, colors, materials, and sculptural art created a balanced masterpiece that reflected the exceptional creativity and skill of ancient craftsmen. Unfortunately, like many other wonders of the ancient world, the Mausoleum of Mausolus could not withstand the destructive forces of time. Over many centuries, earthquakes and wars caused severe damage to the structure. Today, only a small number of ruins remain at the site in Bodrum, Turkey. However, thanks to ancient drawings, reconstruction models, and archaeological research, humanity can still partially imagine the magnificent appearance of the monument that once amazed the entire ancient world. Even though it no longer survives in its original form, the Mausoleum of Mausolus has left behind an invaluable legacy for human architecture. The monument not only inspired countless architects and artists throughout history, but also serves as a powerful testament to the talent, creativity, and extraordinary building abilities of ancient civilizations. Perhaps that is why, even after more than 2,000 years, the name Mausolus has never been forgotten. It continues to remind us of a magnificent wonder that once stood proudly in the ancient land of Halicarnassus, the place that is now known as Bodrum, Turkey. Dear friends, We have just explored 9 ancient mysteries that continue to challenge our understanding of humanity. Even though modern science has achieved incredible breakthroughs, there are still many questions that no one has been able to answer with certainty. Perhaps it is these unsolved mysteries that make history more fascinating than ever before. So, which mystery from today's list impressed you the most and sparked your curiosity? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the Ancient History channel, and turn on the notification bell so you can join us on more exciting journeys of discovery. And now, thank you for watching. Goodbye, and see you again in the next adventure.